delighted to have four interesting people join Maria on stage. The first is Allegra Krishnan. Allegra is here from Chicago. She is the Chief Loyalty and Engagement Officer of McDonald's, the world's most loved fries and hash browns, as I can personally attest. She also might be the most unflappable person I know. So she'll talk about how she engenders loyalty at McDonald's, which seems interesting. Marc Nicholson. Marc is a good friend. He's the founder of probably the best social club on the planet. If you're ever in Singapore or Hong Kong or Bali, please go visit. He will also be volatile and political on stage, so I may have to come in. Again. Like Maria, he's a repeat guest from last year. MR Rangaswami. MR is one of the earliest angel investors in Silicon Valley. He's probably also one of the original people building communities and conferences. So MR now runs Indiaspora. And Indiaspora, as the word implies, is having the Indian diaspora do more in the communities that they live in, not just back in India. It's a fascinating community he's built. He's also probably the most photographed person with the most number of famous people on a daily basis. So we're delighted that he's here in between hanging out with Bill Clinton and other folks. Lastly, but not least, Tiffany Whitlow. Tiffany's a new friend. She's the co-founder of Acclinate. Acclinate is working on some very impressive health equity measures. You will hear from Dell, her co-founder, in the afternoon about an interesting product that they've designed, and we're supporting them launch. There's a community called Now Included, which presents good, accurate, verified health information to the Black community, and Tiffany runs that. There's a ton of passion in that room. So I'm excited to welcome Marc, MR, Allegra, and Tiffany on stage. And Maria, if you haven't disappeared, please come back out.
Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. As you just saw, we put on a fun show about fans, engagement, and loyalty, and all four of you in some way or another are connected to loyalty and to engagement of your audiences. So we're gonna do a quick 30-second round, give everybody your very, very short, not even elevator pitch, on what it is that you do. Marc.
Okay, I'm Marc Nicholson. I own and operate a members club in Singapore. We're currently opening in Hong Kong and Bali at the same time.
Thank you.
My name is Tiffany Whitlow. I have the pleasure of serving as our co-founder and chief development officer. And at Acclinate, we are working to empower communities to take actions for better health.
Hello, everyone. Allegra Krishnan. I work at McDonald's. I think we know who they are. I oversee global customer engagement. So really anywhere where we're focusing as customer and our first-party data to really drive and engage customers throughout their journey.
Hi, everyone. MR Rangaswami. I'm the founder of Indiaspora. It's a community to bring the global diaspora of Indians together. There are 30 million of us outside India, so our job is to bring them to be a force for good.
Fabulous. Thank you very much to all four of you. Allegra, I'm going to start with you. What does the head of loyalty do at McDonald's?
Well, that's a great question. So, like I said, really kind of starting with customer and making sure that we're looking at how do we really build that kind of value exchange between the customer and the brand. And that is incredibly important for us as we think about, what is the value that we're delivering back to customers, what are they delivering to us, and then how do we make sure that we're really protective of that relationship all throughout their CRM and really, the overall life cycle of the customer. We actually have 150 million plus 90-day active customers. So we have an incredibly rich data set with the ambition to get to 250 million by 2027. So if you just think of the power of that data, and by the way, it wasn't very long ago that we didn't have access to first-party data at all. So really it's about really harnessing and building that two-way relationship between customer and the brand.
Okay, so let's talk about that data set. What have you learned about what matters to fans of McDonald's?
Yeah, so much matters. The reality is that so many of our customers and so many of you come into McDonald's at least once a year, right? And so I think that's a really important thing to start with. And like I said, it's really about that two-way relationship between the customer and the brand. And I think what we want to do is we want to continue to be really culturally relevant in fans and brand, and in fans' lives to really bring that to life in a meaningful way. And we want to do it in an authentic way, right? And so if you think about some of our most recent campaigns, I think Grimace Shake is a great example of that. what we did is we really took a fan truth, which is everyone loves celebrating birthdays at McDonald's. Then we actually brought that to life with a Grimace shake. And then we actually let our customers play with it and really kind of, if any of you saw the memes around what happened with the Grimace shake, it was kind of like took over everything with, purple shakes, being poured all over the place. And it was just a really fun expression of how we really let the brand and our customers have fun with the brand and really bring it to life in new and unique ways.
Great, thank you very much, Allegra. Okay, I'm gonna jump on your point about cultural relevance because I think Marc is gonna have some interesting things to say here about 1880 and why is it culturally relevant? Why did you start 1880?
Okay, the easiest answer is that I was lonely. And and that's almost true. I mean, it is true. But so I started 1880. It's a members club. It's maybe a little bit more luxurious than I was expecting. I kind of thought we'd be a little bit kind of grungier and cooler, and it over-delivered. And I thought people would be younger, and they happen to be older, and that's okay too. But the number one thing that we do two things. We hold conversations, and we solve for loneliness. And so by holding conversations, I'm interested in the people who are building Asia for the next 50 years. And that's creatively, culturally, tech-wise, investment. It doesn't really matter what it is you're doing, but somehow you're contributing to the future of Asia. And so I wanted to involve people in conversations and kind of cross-pollinate experts in different areas. So for example, an event like today is something that we would place tremendous value on. Because not only are you bringing the coders and the tech guys and the investors, but you're bringing in the poets and the writers and the cultural, kind of enthusiasts who are, involving them in that dialogue.
So I'm going to use her term again. What is the value exchange? Practically speaking, what is a member of 1880 getting from the club?
Well, that's a hard question.
I think you know the answer.
I think the number one thing is connection and access. So connection is just forming connections between people. If we learn nothing from COVID other than we need to be in each other's presence. It's a really, really important thing for our physical and mental health. And so you get connections and you get access. And the access is the idea that within the community, whoever you're looking for, you're 1 degree of separation away from them. Whether it's an investor, a potential partner, a life partner, whatever.
Friend.
A friend, exactly. we're deep into friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So MR, is your mission similar to his, or what makes it different?
Yeah, we want to bring the entire community together. So it's doctors, lawyers, VCs, tech CEOs, artists, academics, all together to be a force for good. Kind of the ethos behind our organization is seva, or service. And so everything is about philanthropy, giving, sharing, mentoring. So that's what we do. And age is no difference. It can be a teenager. We have a program called Indiaspora Next for the next generation, to seniors on the other side. So really bringing the entire community together.
How long has it been around?
I started it 12 years ago.
Okay.
When this Indian American community was not that large, but now, everyone from the potential president of the United States has an Indian origin.
Aha, he brought in politics, not me.
Are you using any data or technology to engage your community, and if so, how?
Yeah, I think our community is much more at this point in time wants to meet face-to-face or virtually. So we do use Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, but really the magic is when people meet and they find out who they are, what their interests are, what shared values they have. That really is at the heart of it, because we have so many people in our community who are doctors, they're lawyers, they're tech CEOs, they're presidential candidates. They can be in any area like that. But there are a lot of values, like things like cricket. That's a big deal for Indians, or Bollywood. But today, really everything is focused on who's going to be the next president of the United States.
I bet for the next few weeks.
It's someone who's Indian.
Okay, Tiffany, your organization it's a different kind of engagement. Can you tell us a little bit about what Acclinate does?
I think it's actually very similar to what everyone else said here. Through our Now Included platform, we're building connection. And so we saw that there were drugs that were being developed that were not as effective for minority populations. And I believe that that starts with a lack of education and a lack of awareness so that people had the access and ability to be able to participate in clinical trials. And so common drugs like albuterol are 47% less effective in African Americans. And so on that Now Included platform, we have trusted and relevant information that allows real people, before they're even considered patients, an opportunity to make a better health decision. And oftentimes that could be a clinical trial. And so through that connected, trusted, relevant information, people are able to make a decision.
And how do you get your audience to engage with Acclinate?
Whew, that's a loaded question. So we find that there are many reasons people want to engage. Oftentimes we're really trying to reach a healthy person because we understand that in making a health decision, you really have to engage a whole circle, a whole influence of circle around an actual patient. And so these people are engaging through conversations, through access to trusted health information on the platform. They like coming to our events. People like to be in these streets, as my team says, with each other. And through that connected feeling, similar to what you were saying, people feel like, okay, I trust these individuals and I really trust what they're telling me. And so if they're telling me to consider a clinical trial, I'm going to consider a clinical trial and I'm going to go maybe seek a different healthcare provider. So oftentimes we find where the actual clinical trials are being done aren't at an actual person's doctor's office. And so we're really having to be this bridge between those PIs and our community members often.
What is Now Included?
Now Included is the name of our platform. We believe that now is the time for people to be included, and now is the time for people to make better informed healthcare decisions. And for a long time, you could argue that Black people were excluded. I mean, that's why we have these drugs that are not as effective for minority populations.
And how do you think the healthcare organizations, whether it be non-for-profits or big pharma, are helping you engage your audience?
Well, there's this thing called the FDA that came out and said, you pharmaceutical companies need to invest in community engagement. And what we know are pharmaceutical companies are not people companies. And so they're not used to having to work and engage in communities. They're not used to having to work and engage with real people. They're used to developing drugs. And to them, what matters is that number in the door. How many patients do I have? And so they really trust us to do that work with them. And we really are intentional. We don't want to do that work for them. We want to help bridge that gap, that trust barrier that exists between big names like Pfizer, Merck, or Johnson & Johnson and actual community members.
And I'm assuming you use data and technology to bring all of that together and then create the connections between your patients, we'll call them that, and the health organizations that you're trying to drive better health.
We're definitely going to call them community members because oftentimes they're not a patient and they're never our patient. And so you're able to be a community member and be retained on the platform regardless of your willingness to actually participate in a clinical trial. That I think is a unique difference also about our approach.
Okay, interesting. What I hear all four of you in your different areas are all talking about being sort of a conduit to connection. Very much so, regardless of the field that you work in. Do you feel that the data and technology you're using today is where it needs to be for you to do that better, faster, more efficiently, or is there still something missing today?
Yeah, I think in our case, really, it's bringing people together, whether it's to celebrate an Indian American presidential gala we did for President Obama. This is a different president. Or for philanthropy, bringing people together and raising money for relief during COVID. So it can take many shapes and forms. And I think data is just one element. I think really it's the human connection. And I think earlier speakers talked about the AI and human connections. I think human connections still have a lot to offer in this space.
Yeah, I think the human connection is a big point. Plug for Quilt. I'm really excited about their Health Sense tool. And, being able to do a real comparison to what people tell us when we're in these streets, when we're boots on the ground, and what people are saying on social media. And so what are patients saying on Instagram or TikTok, and then what are they telling us, and where might we be able to help bridge another gap that exists or barrier to trust?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think from my end, I think we've made great progress, but of course, like anything, there's so much more work to do. And I mentioned this earlier, but it wasn't very long ago that we within McDonald's didn't actually have access and visibility to our first-party data. And really, there were only 2 channels that you could actually purchase, restaurant and drive-through. And you just think about how much that has evolved. Like I said, with 150 million plus active customers, we have over 10 channels where you can purchase if you think about app, curbside. And so if you just think about the richness of that data and then the ecosystem that's required around it. So like I said, I think we've made incredible progress, but there is so much more that we have on the agenda over the next couple of years to really accelerate.
Marc, how is data and technology going to help you fulfill your dream?
Not at all.
He's lonely.
Yeah. So the real issue is that people are spending more and more time alone. They
Right.
self-isolate. And this has been going on since the 1940s. It's not the advent of social media or telephones. We go to church less often. We join the bowling club less often. We do parent watch less frequently, neighborhood watch, what have you. And it's physically damaging to our health. And we know that. So the sort of purpose behind our business is literally to bring people together. Physically bring people together, and then watch the magic happen. Like whatever that gives birth to, whether it's new companies getting formed or relationships happening or friendships get made. The fear that I have is that AI is going to produce incredible entertainment. And we're on the, sort of like on the threshold of something where there will be an endless number of things that we can do by ourselves. And that worries me because we're already seeing the effects of young people isolating and not being around.
We were sharing the statistic
Exactly.
right before we
Yeah.
came out here that I don't know, I can't remember the report it came from, but it said that the average Gen Zer has 38 minutes of in real life social interaction per day.
Yeah.
What?
38 minutes of in real life. And
Yeah.
you said something to me that was...
Yeah. By the way, and then 8 hours of social media interaction.
Of course.
Right.
But
and then the thing, I think what I was pointing out is that, and a lot of parents love the statistics and they should stop it. But the average age at which an American girl loses her virginity has changed in the last 30 years from 15 to 17. And parents are like, ooh. But I'm like, no, go back, fornicate. Yeah.
You did tell me you have a daughter.
But there's a reason. Hold on.
Like, get rid of my daughter.
There's a reason. And
Yes, but I'm not sure which reason you're...
well, the reason is lack of social... They don't go out.
Yes,
they don't go out.
I mean, that's it. So teenage girls, 18-year-old girls are spending more time at home on a Friday night than their counterparts did in the 8th grade 30 years ago. So wrap that around your head. It just means that people aren't going out enough. And what they do is sit at home and compare themselves to the things that they see on their screen. And we're doing that at our detriment. And it's a huge detriment. Mm-hmm. So getting people to come out, street parties, whatever events they are.
Yeah.
This is what we need to do.
And finding a way, in fact, all of you, what's quite interesting is that whatever technology or data that you're using, it's all in the service of real human connection. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whether that be with your brand, whether that be with healthcare organizations, whether that be with people in your network, it's all about servicing human connection for the betterment of everyone's mental health,
That's right.
Regardless of the generation.
That's right.
I want to thank all of you because it's been really insightful and really rich conversation. Please thank them for their participation.
Yay. Good job. Thank you.
We have 1 minute and 50 seconds.
So
You got me some time
I
back.
want to add one thing before
Yes.
we do that, and that's data. On the data is important,
Yeah.
I think, in many different ways. One is the data to find out how people are interacting, but there's also data about your community itself, like Marc was saying. Mm-hmm. In our community, we found out there's 75,000 doctors, right? But they serve 30 million patients,
right.
or 22,000 academics who teach millions of college students. So there's all kinds of data that can be translated for good. And I think that's something AI can help as well. So I just want to add that part.
Agree.
Thank you. Do we have time for questions?
Yes, there's a few questions
Great.
that came in online, but never mind. The offline's going to win this one. Somebody new, please. Yes.
So my question is that this panel, to me, with everyone talking, each of them talking about the importance of in-person community, seems inconsistent with what King Drummond was saying, which is that you can have emotions and you
We're here to be the provocative panel of today's events. I'm sure you want to address that point.
Yeah.
What she was saying is that you can build the community you need with AI agents. So why are you all so obsessed with having a community come together?
I think, what we find is people want both.
Yes.
And so actually even through our Nia chatbot, we're actually trying to explore what are people actually looking for. So if you think about how you make a healthcare decision, you want to go to Google, you want to go to Instagram, you want to look at somebody's Facebook group, you want to hear from what other people have to say. So I do believe that the internet could help you hear from the masses, but oftentimes, especially in the South, or especially in communities of color, you go to your HBCU, you were in college with someone, this person spent 4 years of their life with you, and you guys have all these memories that the internet can't touch. And so my co-founder gives a story of his grandma and this Vicks ass. And so he's like, well, his doctor said, go home and do this. His grandma's like, no, go home, put some Vicks on your chest, and get underneath the blanket, you're gonna be okay, just sweat it out, right? That effective trust that existed with his grandma supersedes what he heard from the doctor, which we're often also seeing supersedes what people are reading online. And so for me, in the healthcare decision space, I don't believe it's only going to be able to be made online.
Anybody else want to comment?
Yeah, I would say there's no substitute for human connection, what we're doing here.
Yeah. Yep.
We could have been on Zoom doing the same thing. I
Not
don't
the
think
same.
it would be the same. And for all of you sitting here, it won't be the same being online. Sorry, guys who are
Sorry,
online.
everyone else is online.
Yeah, I mean, you're offending all my online buddies over here.
Send the editor back, tell her to write an article about that.
We are going to sneak in 2 more questions really quickly. Gentleman in the back there, and yes.
You got a hand that's waving wildly
Oh, there's
in
the
the
middle,
audience.
right, sorry. Like, lights are right in my face. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you all for your perfect talk. And I would like to ask a question that, because you all run like a huge platform where like maybe there's like millions of, I don't know the exact number, but at least many and many people are there in the platform. So I would like to ask, what does human connection mean in that level? How is that different from just data? Yeah.
I can answer from a Deezer point of view. So running a streaming platform, the behavior you have online is very passive, we'll call it that. But for us, what's really important is that we drive experiences around music, not just within the product, but outside of the product, because of all the things you saw about fandom, that it really is about the opportunity to have an experience that people are looking for, and then mixing both. So for us, it's about getting the balance right across all 3. The massive experience, to make your point about millions of people on a platform, the individual exclusive experiences with smaller groups, and the in-between.
Excellent. A really quick question from the person in the middle, and then we have to exit this elegant group.
Hello.
Okay. My question is for Allegra and perhaps Maria. How does the brand decide which moments are opportune to get actively involved in versus those that you feel might be more so for the fans to have for themselves and, engage with the brand on their own?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and I know I touched on this a bit, but I mean, for us, it's really about cultural relevance, and I think for us as well, it's starting with that fan truth, right? And I think if we can actually really lean into the fans that surround McDonald's and what is that kind of real fan truth, right? If you think about a campaign like our Famous Orders campaign, it was all about everyone has their own unique McDonald's order, even famous people, right? So it's like you start with that really unique fan truth and you bring that to life in a unique way. And that I think becomes a little bit more of, the springboard, if you will, for how we actually really engage customers.
Yeah, I would only add to that for us, it's really about understanding the moments that allow the fan to celebrate their identity or their musical taste. Those are the key moments, and to amplify it as much as possible outside of our product or our platform. Those are the moments where we get the most engaged because it's both good for the fan and for our brand.
Yeah, and I think, if you start with that fan truth, but then I think that's more of like the how do we build the campaigns, but then I think it's about really understanding where are those cultural moments and where are we gonna let the fans kind of have fun and play with a brand, which I think is a very important thing to do. It goes back to my point of that two-way relationship between customer and brand is the core of how we think about really that, more of that emotional connection with us and our customers. So very important to do both.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You.